Hi everyone, and welcome to our Consul Hangout. Apologies for the short delay. We had a few technical problems, but when you're dealing with the internet, these things are going to happen. On behalf of all of us here at InterNations, I want to say to all the consuls that are joining us for this Hangout, a huge welcome to you. We're really looking forward to getting in and answering your questions in our Hangout today or tonight, depending on where you are joining us from. My name's Rhys O'Sullivan and I work in community management here in Munich. We are coming to you live from Munich, just in front of these mountains here, and it's a beautiful day. I can see on the screen we're already getting some really good questions here over on the right-hand side, which is excellent. The goal of our Hangout today is to go through and answer some of these questions and give you some tips and advice. Both from some of our amazing activity groups team members who are also joining us. They haven't taken off to the beach or anything because it is a beautiful day here. But also from some of our more successful consuls, and we've got a couple of consuls who've joined us in the first half of 2015 who've been doing some really great work. So without any further ado, I want to introduce them to you. Now, first off, we have Miguel Kudziela joining us from Madrid. Hi, Miguel.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Miguel from Madrid. I'm original from Germany, and I joined InterNations last November, and I got Group Consul 3-4 months ago, and I run 3 groups now in Madrid.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, Miguel. Also, we have Thomas. Now, firstly, Thomas, we've had a bit of problems getting your video going. Oh, I think he's just dropped out. We'll come back to Thomas when things start going our way a little bit more. Thomas runs the Burgers and More group in Vienna, and they are doing some fantastic stuff over the last few months. So it'll be great to have Thomas along to kind of share some of his advice also. Finally, joining us are 3 members of our amazing activity groups team from here in Munich, Emily, Susan, and Elena. Thank you for joining us.
Hey! Hi, I'm Susan. I look over the Southern Europe, including Austria and also Luxembourg, and this is my second Hangout. So I hope that I'm getting the hang of it, and I'm really happy, saw that, I'm really happy to be here and to, yeah, help provide support and answer the questions that you guys have for us.
Yeah, hi, I'm Elena. I'm taking care of our super consuls in Asia, except China and Oceania. And I'm also really happy to be here. We'll try to do our best to answer all your questions and make your consul adventure just run smoothly.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm looking after our Western European communities. And welcome everyone to our first Consul Catch-Up Hangout. This is also my first Hangout, so I'm really looking forward to being able to answer some questions that you might have and any concerns that you have.
Yeah. First Hangout for me too. Sorry, I forgot.
Good one. Hey guys, well thanks for joining us, and it is important to point out that if you need any support with your activity groups or your activities, you need some ideas on things to do or you're facing some challenges, get onto the email activity-groups@internations.org. That'll go straight through to these guys and they'll get back to you straight away. Now they're here to help you with anything that you need. So let's dive straight into it. I can see we've got some fantastic questions already asked. One thing I will say is for anyone who's watching this recording on YouTube, down the bottom right of your screen you'll see a small icon that says join the conversation on Google Hangouts. That'll take you through to the Hangouts and you can see what questions have been answered. And the first is from Bone. And his question is, when will the ability to invite our address book for activities be added back in? I'm really waiting for this feature. And this is a brilliant question, and it's something that we've heard, it's feedback we've heard from consuls a fair bit recently. So activity groups, Susan, when will consuls start to see this again?
Soon. Our IT department is well aware that this is something that our consuls really find to be very important and help get their, bring more attendees to their activities. So it is it has been flagged as a very important issue that needs to be taken care of as soon as possible.
Fantastic. So we can expect to see that back soon, which is great.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, team. Another really good question that we have here from Marie. She's asked, how can we make our activity text more attractive that will encourage people to participate? Now, this is a really good question, and it goes to kind of how do you make your activities a little bit more personable. So, Miguel, I'd be interested in, I guess, your view on this. You know, when you start to post activities in your yoga group and your cycling group, you know, how do you kind of try and make them interesting?
First, I try to find the title. For the yoga group, I'm repeating it, where I keep the title. And then in the description, I try to write it like to write to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I write it very personal and I write it funny. And what I also figured out is to bring the information in a short way, because lots of people not reading the whole description often. So I try to be short and on the point.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think sometimes I see some descriptions that are a little bit too long, so it is good to kind of get to the point quickly with that personal touch. It looks like we may have Thomas back with us. Thomas, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I was looking at the screen, and all of a sudden, you guys were gone. So.
Okay, but the good thing is we're back and we're live. So I want to ask you, you know, one of the strengths, I guess, of your Burgers and More group, I find, is the way that you, I guess, market your activities in a way. You know, the way you do your text is very personable. You know, it makes it something that I'd be really interested in joining. What advice would you have for Marie on kind of describing your activity in a way that sounds really attractive?
Well, I try to make it personal as well. So using an email, not relying on the system just to generate an email, but to make it very personal with each member. I know every group is a little bit different, but I think the personal attention that people receive to a personal email has, you know, you can't replace that. It makes an impact. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the tip there is to really personalize your description, I guess.
Yeah, and try to. The best way to put it is to kind of in a short couple of 3 phrases kind of describe something that people are going to say, hey man, this is interesting, this is something I want to join, you know.
And Thomas, the other thing I really like about your activities is that every time I see them, my mouth starts watering, you know, because I see this huge burger, you know, and I just kind of go, oh. So that's nice also.
Yeah, I always, you know, hit Google and find appropriate pictures to go with it, just to give that little visual aid for some people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice touch. I think you're doing some really great stuff there. Hey, so thanks, Marie, for your question. The other question we've got that's just come up is from Marie also, and she's asked, can we have an online prepayment system where we can, you know, if we're booking like a dinner table or tickets, where consuls can get in and kind of, or group members can prepay for things. Now, this is a really good point. It's something that's come up before. Activity groups team, we don't have this as part of our system, but what are some of the things, I mean, that Marie could do to help her with this prepayment problem?
Well, we always try to suggest to our consuls to first plan as soon as possible. Also avoid financial risk by getting members paying by themselves directly with the venue. And if it's not possible, arrange for members to pay you. So once you get the transfer or the money in any other way, then you know that they're going to be there, they're going to attend the activity. Yeah.
some consuls use PayPal as well. And we also just, try to be as transparent as possible. But what's really important is not to pay for prepayment yourself.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And I guess, Miguel, for you, in your yoga activities, have you faced this prepayment challenge yet, or not quite yet?
No, not yet. So far, I don't needed any prepayment because my activities are free, and but I would, if in case I'm not really sure what I would do, I would ask for a minimum amount of 5 or 10 euros when I have a bigger activity with costs, that the people get really sure that they want to join and that they're also coming.
Yeah. That is a good point, and I think the kind of the prepayment thing does help with the thing with no-shows in a way. Now Thomas we've just lost Thomas, but I mean I think he will be able to give us some good tips on that, because I've seen him do some really great things there in Vienna on how he manages that. So Marie, thanks for your question. We've just had a new question from Kyun Yoon, who's with us in Korea. And she's mentioned that sometimes the InterNations official events can seem a little bit overwhelming. And she's kind of asked, are there plans to have some smaller group events or smaller group activities? And I think that's a really great question. And it's something we're seeing more and more in our communities is people getting more into the smaller activities, but more into the newcomers events. So activity groups team, what comments would you have for Kyun? What do we have there in terms of activities and newcomers events that she could get into?
Well, the whole idea of the activity groups came because a lot of members did give us the feedback that sometimes when they attend the events, it is overwhelming. And so the idea of the activity groups and bringing people together in sort of a smaller, more intimate group helps with that anxiety that some members may have. And if she's looking to do something that is, going out and socializing in a club or a bar, she can always, create an activity in the appropriate group. This is actually your community.
Yeah, I mean, also I would say that look for the nightlife type of groups. I mean, because usually that's what's going on in an event, but like on a big scale. So you just want to go out with, I don't know, other 10 members, just try to post an activity there and find a spot and then have fun. And if the topic is, I don't know, like going for a run or a hike, then just like find the right route to do it, and yeah, feel free to post the activity you would like to have.
I think that's there's some good advice, guys. And the other piece of this puzzle is, I guess, the newcomers events that we're starting to see in some of our bigger communities. And I know we do have them in Madrid, and we do have them in Vienna. Yeah. Thomas, have you been to a newcomers event in Vienna?
Yes, I have, yeah.
And, the other day we were speaking about you mentioned that was quite a valuable channel for you in terms of building your group. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Obviously the newcomers event are geared to get people kind of an idea of what InterNations is truly all about. But I think I remember how I felt when I first joined, and it was the larger groups tend to be a little overwhelming, especially if you hardly know anybody or don't know anybody for that matter. So having an opportunity to present my group, which right now is just a little over 200 and growing, that is something that tends to appeal. So we have an opportunity to briefly talk to them in a group setting about the group, what we do, what we stand for, and inevitably I see an uptick in the number of people who join the activity group within 24 to 48 hours. So it's definitely worth going out there and introducing yourself. People then, especially the newcomers, they know who you are, not just a profile picture and a name, but somebody that took the time to meet with them, say hello, and tell them a little bit, not just about the group, but also how they felt, how I felt 18 months ago.
And I mean, it's nice to me. I remember I've been to one newcomers event in Munich, and it's kind of got this feel that everyone there is in the same boat. So it's a lot easier to get started and meet people who are going through exactly the same things that you're going through, I guess, in terms of getting started, finding a job, finding housing, starting their social friendship circle again, because you leave that every time you move. You need to start this again, as we were talking about, Miguel, with your kind of moving around. So they're a really great thing to go to. And if you do have a newcomers event in your community, I'd really encourage you to tag along. So thank you, Kuhn. That's a great question. One of the things I wanted to chat about now is we have some consuls ask us questions around, sometimes you put in a lot of effort to setting up these activities, and at times you might post an activity and more people than on the guest list will come, and that's a great result sometimes. And sometimes you can post an activity and not everyone will come. There are a whole range of things, and we get a lot of feedback from consuls to say, hey, what can we do to really encourage people to want to come to activities? So I'd like to have a chat about that now. And Miguel, for your activities, when you're doing things like your cycling group or yoga activities or what have you, what kind of things do you do, I guess, to try and minimize this no-show rate that happens?
I don't have really a solution for it. My personal advice is not to count with the whole amount of attendees. So calculate that some people are not showing up, not even say something for it. That helps not to get disappointed. And the other experience is when you start activities and you start meeting the people. In the moment the people know you personally, it gets more serious and the people gets more concrete. And this can have a kind of snowball effect, like one sees that another friend is joining, so he can join too. And it's kind of icebreaker. So the personal contact, I think it's with the time the thing that it gets the people more serious and showing up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And Thomas, would you have anything to add to that?
Well, like what Miguel said, I think it's the consul who really drives the group. So when people know you, it makes it harder for them to cancel. So taking the time, like what I do, is send out an email the first time they join the group and sign up for an event, just to kind of personally welcome them to the group. And then it becomes a personal thing. It's harder for people to say, I'm just going to cancel without saying anything or so. That seems to help because, of course, the system generates an email reminder to people that they have signed up for an event. But it's a system-generated email. Everybody knows that. So. But when it comes from the consul, it's a little bit different,
This is what I'm also doing. One day or at the day of the activity, I also write a personal email to all attendees to say that the activity is coming, and also to ask for the ones to sign out when I have a limited numbers, to sign out for the ones that are waiting to sign in. And that helps also a lot. Kind of reminder, and it brings the people back to the day when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the more personal you can make it, the more that they know that there's actually a person on the end of this who is volunteering their time and putting a lot of effort into this. I think the more you can, as you guys said, you can really minimize that number. Guys in the activity groups team, did you have anything that you could add to that?
I've noticed in my communities some of the consuls will add a disclaimer on their activity, just a line or two at the bottom saying, hey, if you can't make it, please just cancel your attendance because I need to know the number of attendees that are coming. And another thing, the reminder message that Miguel and Thomas both mentioned, sort of, hey, sending a message to the group, or, I mean, if you can really personalize it, then that's ideal. But if you don't have the time, then you can send a group message and just send a reminder saying, the activity is happening in the next couple of days, so if you can't make it, please, remove yourself. Something else, I think posting pictures can help as well, because it gives the idea, that this is a real group that's meeting offline and doing cool things, and, you're also maybe missing out if you aren't canceling your attendance or not going. And yeah, in the specific situations where you need to have an exact number of attendees, I would say collecting a prepayment, which some of our consuls also do, using PayPal or collecting it directly. Just make sure you're transparent with that.
Yep, and they're great tips. Thanks, guys. And the other thing that I noticed and that we saw the other day that I really like, something that you do, Thomas, is you have a group newsletter. Like, you kind of have a bit of a thing that you send around to your groups to talk about the new members, welcoming new members, talking about what's coming up, what you've done. I think that's a really nice touch to add this personal level that can kind of really cut back on this. Because then I see the comments on your activity group wall, and they're very much directed to you because they know you as the burger guy, if you will.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps.
No, definitely, and I think another thing new consuls have to understand is that coming out of the gate, so to speak, you're not going to set the world on fire and have extremely high attendance. I think early on, depending on the group actual size, I think it's better to set your expectations a little bit lower and be surprised and be happy that the turnout was better than the other way around. So be reasonable, be realistic, and let things grow as the core of the group grows, where people know each other and they actually look forward to spending some time with each other. Like this coming Saturday, we have a picnic, so everybody's looking forward to that. Do I expect a lot of people to show up? No. That way, I'll be happy.
And it's a good point. This thing around when you kick a group off. It's sort of I guess the first one or two activities can be hard to get going, I guess. So I mean, Thomas, for you, how was that first experience? Like, did you have a great turnout for your first event or not? And what did you do from there?
Well, for the first one, the turnout was I think it was 11 signed up, and that was with 2 days notice, and I believe that 6 or 7 ended up showing up, and I only remember just being deathly afraid that nobody was going to show up. So the fact that 6 or 7, I can't remember what it was, eventually showed up, that was a nice surprise. And but yeah, I think things get better over time, so yeah, the first couple of events was a lot of trial and error as far as the dates and competing with other events and those kind of things. But then after a while, especially if you're out there quite a bit and people see you on a regular basis, they they want to come check you out. So all of a sudden things kind of come your way, so you have to kind of earn it. So
and Miguel, for you, I mean, getting the bicycle group started, because that's when you started from scratch, is that correct?
No, not from scratch. I was taking the group over. It was already existing, but almost, I think, half a year without any activities. And with this group, it's still tricky because I made already 4 activities, and the first 2 were no one coming, and the third one was very successful with 15 or 14 people coming, and the following was also again with no one coming. So I still try to figure out what the people want to do with bicycling tours, but I also follow the advice just doing stuff what I like by myself. And even if I have no one, it's joining me, I do the tour by myself and post after also photos to see what I've done to attract people for the next times.
I think that's the best. That's the best thing. The best piece of advice is do something that you love. If other people want to come and join you, that's brilliant. You know, so you put yourself first in a way, which to me is what this consul role is about. I've got a question here from Kiwan, and he's asked a question is, when he runs activities, he usually does them in the same area. And he's saying, would it be helpful to bring other participants in if he changed location from activity to activity? And I guess this is highly dependent on the type of activity we're talking about. But I guess, like Thomas, for you, I mean, do you vary your location a lot?
Yes, we do. Well, first of all, because we are the burger group, so we changed because of that. But also, in any event that has a a set venue, and I can name a few in Vienna. After a while, they become kind of like, I've been there. You have to kind of step back and let some time go by, and maybe a different crowd. So I think, depending on the group, having a diverse lineup of events is helpful. Also to give you as a consul an experience, or the necessary experience to do these things. If you keep on doing the same thing, you're not going to learn anything different. Eventually you'll get really good at that one thing, but I think people like diversity after a while. Not always the same place with the same people. So diversity, I think, is important. Not only that, but to keep people interested in wanting to come.
And for you, Thomas, while I've got you there, I mean, you were saying the other day that out of the 13 activities that you've done or so, you were the initiator, or you had the ideas for only a few of them, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm really trying to set a precedent where this is a group driven by its members. So I encourage the members to give me feedback and come to me with suggestions and ideas for upcoming events. So it didn't take that many members to all of a sudden have several lead people saying, hey, it would be great to have to go watch a movie and eat something before that. Well, that's one event that we're doing in 9 days. The picnic was somebody else's idea, and that we're doing this coming Saturday. From the same person, we're doing cooking classes. So I think that the more the core group of your group is involved with ideas and even helping you to some extent, the better it is all the way around.
Yeah, I think that's such a great tip. And it's because sometimes people often, they do need someone with a little bit of leadership to go, you know what, I'll take the lead and we'll do this. Because often they really want to do something but maybe just don't have that little something that it takes to be able to bring a group of people together and do this. And to me, that's kind of a part of the gold in this consul role, is that you're really supporting people to explore their city that maybe don't have the confidence to do it themselves. So yeah, I think that's a really cool point, Thomas.
Yeah, I think people seem to enjoy it, and once they start, they feel that they're really a part of it. So that's important too. So
yeah. Now we are getting a little bit short on time, but we do have one final question here from Aline. And Aline's question is this, and it's around with the scheduling on the calendar, it can sometimes be challenging where there is an event on the same day as an activity, or two similar activities on the same day, or maybe you've done the best you can to book in advance and get in there, but someone else has put a similar activity in, and that is a bit of a challenge that we do face, especially with the variation in between the activities and the events, with the activities generally being smaller and the events being, community-wide things that need to take place. This is something we do need to work on, is this, how do we kind of better enable consuls and ambassadors to work together for scheduling? But I might just ask, guys, in the activity groups team, if for someone like Elena and you're trying to schedule an activity and you want to make sure that you don't clash or that you do get the date you want, what would your advice be for Elena?
Well, I would say, for example, in some big communities, like of course, like some similar activities can clash sometimes. So I would try maybe to try to get in touch with the consuls. I don't know, maybe I'm like the wine appreciation consul, but there's also like the donation consuls where they can also go for dinner and like have wine, of course, and maybe like try to contact them and just have like a common calendar if it's possible, or ask them, hey, when are you planning, or like which week, so maybe they don't have to give you an exact date, but like you have sort of an idea, okay, he's planning to have his own activity at the end of the month, so I will try to plan mine, I don't know, the second week, so for sure I cannot clash. But, of course, it's not always possible, but yeah, I don't know, like some other ideas, guys.
But I would really encourage the importance of communicating with other consuls in your community, just to make sure that you're not clashing with them, and if it's a big event, look out for that on the calendar. We do have a lot of save the date things in many of our communities now, so just keep an eye out and be considerate of other consuls and ambassadors, because they're also putting effort into posting activities. So they'll be understanding as well for your activities.
Great.
Something else I can quickly add, they can also be the option to combine. Like Thomas, you recently worked with France in doing like a beach picnic, right? You there?
Hello.
Oh, hey.
No, I can hear you now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
Sometimes if the groups are kind of similar and you have similar ideas as the other consuls, you can have the opportunity to combine groups and do something together. And I noticed that you and France did something with beach activity.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we did that this past Saturday. France and I had basically the two groups meet up at a really nice place in Vienna on the Donau, and instead of having probably 30 or 40, we more than doubled that. So and that will set the stage for some more beach, quote unquote, beach parties there, because it's a great facility. The venue is great, and everybody had a blast. So so combining, sometimes it's a good idea, especially if you're in a city where there's a lot of competition. There's only 52 weekends the last time I checked. So when it gets a little tough, then if you can't beat them, join them.
Good one. So Elena, thank you. It is something we do need to look into more. But wherever we talk to consuls, we say absolutely look in the future, look in advance, try and plan your thing ahead of time, and where possible, communicate with other consuls. We really try to say InterNations is a community, not so much of a platform. So there is that extra level there of we say, hey, get in touch, send the email, maybe you know each other from an event, send a text, whatever it is, and try and coordinate a little bit of that. So look, that's basically our 30 minutes gone. It went quite quickly. So I want to say on behalf of all of us here, Emily, Susan, Elena, Miguel and Thomas, thank you all for joining us. Technical difficulties aside, I think we've managed it. Just before we leave, I'd be really keen to get what would be your one tip or your best piece of advice for a new consul. What would it be? And let's start with the activity groups team.
I would say my big tip would be post your first activity. Try not to hesitate about it too much. Don't worry. I know you get a lot of information in the beginning, but just dive right in post that activity, and you will see your group fill up. You'll get to know the members straight away, and they'll see that you're enthusiastic, and and have fun. It'll be great.
Don't give up. And actually, I would like to add something. We talked before. Sorry for this, we're running out of time. Just like because we have new consuls joining, like Miguel did, an existing group, but we have new consuls that send us a group request. So the group is new, so there's no members in there. So when they post their activities, maybe only 11 members are in the group. So for sure, the probability of having like people attending the activity would be less if you just like took over for I don't know, like I would say like a football group that already has like 2,000 members, or well, that would be great, 200 members. So for sure here the possibilities are like higher. So don't worry if like your first activity doesn't fill up as wanted, and do something you really like and that makes you happy. That's my tip.
And I would just say, keep it simple. The first activity doesn't have to be a huge, elaborate thing. If it's something that you enjoy and something that isn't too strenuous to plan, then that would be my first tip as well. You're also getting used to your new role.
Cool. Thanks, guys. And Miguel, to put you on the spot, do you have a top piece of advice?
My advice would be do something what you love to do by yourself and be authentic when you do it.
Perfect. And Thomas?
Oh, well, first of all, let me apologize. I know this. I am a lot more lively the rest of the time. I'm a little blue tonight, so hopefully when there's another opportunity, you'll get to see what I look like.
I like what you're wearing.
But as far as tip, I would say have a plan. When you start out, plan out the first couple of months in terms of the events, what you're going to do, and who you're going to reach out to. Who can you already see within the group that might be a potential co-consul that can help, and so then you can hit the ground running. I think having a lot of events early on sets the tone. People see you. That's an indirect way of getting attention on the InterNations site.
Perfect. Thanks, Thomas. Okay, so listen, to everyone out there, thank you for joining us. This is our, we've sort of done 4 of these now, but our first one where we've said to consuls who've joined us in the first half of 2015, let's get together and share some tips and advice. Again, Miguel and Thomas, we really appreciate having you along. Thanks so much. We would love it to have you along again and kind of dig into this a little bit more. To those of you who are looking to, I guess, have some questions answered that we haven't yet got to, and I can see a couple in our question and answer pane, over the next couple of days, your activity groups manager will be in touch with you, just to get your question answered. Also, we'll also post this on the activity post here, just so that everyone can see those. So one more time, on behalf of all of us, all the best with your activities, and we'll see you in another month. Thank you.